Hello, I'm Kim Sung-kyun, the presenter. I will present under the theme of urban regeneration of Ilshin Textile Factory. The site is located in Butgu, Gwangju Metropolitan City. Other areas are adjacent near the site, so there are various surrounding resources. If you look closer at the site, the area of the site is 291,801 square meters. And there is Gwangju Stream nearby. I analyzed the site with a 1.5 kilometers radius. First of all, you can see that the population density is increasing as there are many apartments near the site. Apartments that have penetrated the inner city are turning the city into an apartment forest, without seeing the real forest. Also, urban parks are significantly lacking except for natural green areas near the site. Looking at the geographical location, I think we need an open park for citizens in connection with Gwangju Stream. Near the site, I looked at the resources around this site. I could see that there are many educational facilities nearby, and there is a lack of cultural and commercial facilities. Design focuses on connecting with surrounding resources, preserving historicality, utilizing waste factories, and meeting housing needs. Connect with resources around this site. Preserve the historical nature of the site, utilize factories that are not in operation, use them as large spaces, and meet the basic housing needs of the city. It's a concept. My concept is a project about where existing parks and cities can be combined. Continuous green areas were constructed while maintaining basic urban order. The ground level is orderly along the existing city grid, and new levels have been introduced to preserve the site's history and space, creating different layers. Each factory has a different space and history, and the meaning of the building within the site is different. Based on the spatial advantages of existing factories, the company plans to utilize the space by substituting new programs while utilizing them as original through selective preservation. The grid was formed and block planned through the node point, which is the connection point between the axis of the factory building and the surrounding city. It plans to maintain traces of buildings located around the central factory, respecting the land and connecting the side road and node points to plan the route. Masses were formed along blocks formed by main and detailed movements, and mass was constructed through spatial planning and zoning. Part of the block next to the line of movement across the center is removed, and massing along the road enables users to experience a wealth of experience. It forms a green area that covers the entire site through connection with the green road and Gwangju Stream, and sets the height in consideration of natural light. The established green area serves as an urban park in the city, gives publicity to the factory site, and provides forests and open spaces in the city. It empties the green area along the axis of the existing plant and empties the green area along the main line. This provides sufficient natural light in each space and distinguishes between public and private green areas to protect privacy and to establish a hierarchy of green areas. In the planning of residential facilities, the green area shall be emptied by utilizing detailed movements so as to facilitate smooth coordination in consideration of natural light. It also experiences various forms of greenery and becomes a fulfilling life with nature through various arrangements formed by the sides of the blocks. This project affects the surrounding cities and is affected at the same time. Beyond the site, the project was carried out in connection with the surrounding cities. The project was organized by connecting with nature such as green areas and rivers, grid plans reflecting the existing city forms, links to surrounding educational facilities, and surrounding cultural facilities. It is a concept of how to use and view abandoned factories. It was transformed into a space of culture and commerce through the use of large and high spaces without columns, the composition of spaces through existing column grids, the open space where trusses become an object, and the open transformation of closed waste factories. It is a concept of how to utilize and leave historical space while proceeding with the project, and where the project faces history. Through architecture, we plan a space that will become history in the future. In terms of urban regeneration, Urban regeneration without housing is nothing but a failure. A city where citizens participate and create together is true urban regeneration. It also points out the problems of current cities that are becoming high-rise dense and suggests what new measures are. Through this project, I would like to propose the location of housing and green areas by providing green areas that are scarce in cities and planning for medium density. You can think about where a site should be located at the boundary between preservation and utilization. After demolishing them, they should be preserved and utilized, not built. It is necessary to harmonize the existing space with the new incoming space. In addition, I would like to propose a project at a new boundary between preservation and development, with various layers, including new roads, residential and infrastructure, parks, and the historical nature of the site, and public nature to pursue. Shafts are formed around the side road that existing factory buildings had, and the factory located in the center. Node points are formed through analysis of surrounding roads, public transportation, and expected population inflow pods. The grid was formed by utilizing the crossroads, axes, and new node points of existing buildings. Except for roads leading to residential facilities outside the site, all roads were planned exclusively for pedestrians. It was planned to serve as a walking city square, without interruption to vehicle traffic. It is divided into two main pedestrian traffic lines that penetrate the center and vehicle traffic routes that come in and out of both sides. On pedestrian roads, personal mobility was utilized to enable smooth movement. The central axis of the site was formed through selective preservation of thermal power plants, first boiler rooms, second boiler rooms, central factories, and logistics warehouses. Thermal power plants, first and second boiler rooms, serve as exhibition halls and one object in the history park, and factory buildings of second plant and first production team are divided into three parts by moving line and used as exhibition halls, performance halls, commercial and cultural spaces, and youth support centers. Logistics is used as a visitor center for visitors to the site through Little Forest Square. Centered on existing buildings in the center of the site, we analyzed people's inflow routes and traffic to create new node points and connect them to form a grid. We propose a new form of housing required by modern society. The plan was to plan a residential facility with nature, and considering the location of sites in Cholanamdu and Ilshan Textile in the current high-rise dense city, a medium density plan and a low number of floors are proposed. Fragrance was given priority in planning residential facilities. Low to the southeast and high to the northwest, forming a skyline reflecting the coordination. Furthermore, various green areas and programs were planned to provide abundant green areas. In the case of the first floor, which was disadvantageous to the sunshine, commercial facilities were planned to solve the sunshine problem. It has a social infrastructure linked to surrounding cities and has culture, sports, arts, education, history, and workspace. There are spaces for young people, educational facilities linked to nearby schools, sports facilities linked to Champions Field and Gwangju Stream, historical spaces where thermal power plants and power generators form as objects, exhibitions, and art spaces for various performances. In addition, commercial facilities were located along two roads across the center, allowing smooth entry along the road. As an infrastructure in the residential space, it is planned to use Zhangjiang to improve the convenience of residents and a space where wide open spaces, nature and space can blend together. Green areas were planned by maintaining the order of existing cities and adding new layers. This focused on respecting and preserving the order of the land in the design concept, and the building would be located under the green layer. The large green area over the building serves as a walking path, park, grassland, and forest in the city center. People can walk through greenery, feel free in the city, and experience a variety of things in forests that are scarce in the city. Furthermore, the plan was to connect the water space and the green area through the connection with the Green Road and the Gwangju Stream. In order to bring in sufficient assistance in the residential space, The green area was emptied and the traffic lines were connected. Green areas were divided into private green areas and public green areas, and private green areas and public green areas were separately planned. Projects of medium and low-rise levels lower the average height of the city. We also propose an ideal future urban space that can be a new way of urban regeneration and environment, leaving behind historical values and lessons. For keywords were defined as what location the site should have, how preservation and utilization coexist, and how it is further linked to the surrounding cities. It is a residential space with one connection with nature, to continuation of history, 3 utilization of waste factories, and last for medium density. When faced with the site in terms of preservation and utilization, it sought to preserve the layers to which the buildings belong through selective preservation. In addition, site analysis was able to identify the lack of surrounding greenery and the urban form of high-rise dense areas, which allowed the site to find its location. The concept of landscape was to maintain basic urban order and form a continuous green area. The ground level follows the grid of existing cities, and a new level of layers landscape is planned to preserve the historicality and space of the site. The compartmental space and the flow of the upper part along the landscape shape create a 3-dimensional and fluid flow. Roads, residential facilities, infrastructure, parks, and historicity are stacked and intertwined with various layers, becoming a new alternative to the boundary between public and development. What really is architecture for people? It is hard to find in modern society where high-rise and dense forms of housing are familiar. Furthermore, we propose medium to low-rise residential spaces and sufficient green space. We constantly speak out and think as architects for an ideal city.